ready, we'll just go ahead and start with questions for Coach Kelsey. We've got microphones around the room.
Yeah, Coach, update on Rain, his status for Saturday.
Yeah, he's day-to-day with an ankle injury. Have nothing more than that. We'll see how he is over the next day.
If he can't play, what do you expect your rotation to look like? I know you had two big guys.
I would say, from the time he went out the other day, which was at the
12:36.
12:36 mark, probably something similar to that. Not very deep, so there's not a lot of options. So we're going to go with who we got, and who we got's pretty darn good, and they've been good all year long.
Considering his family's come from so far, is it tempting to try to throw him out there even if you 75% or something like that?
I mean, it's we have the best medical staff in the country, and they went to school for a long time to be able to make the decision of whether he can go or not go, and that's not my expertise. What I do know is Rain, and I've been around him for a long time. There's few tougher. There's few tougher. He's as gritty and gutty and tough. And when he said he couldn't go the other day, I know, it was really hurting him. So he's working around the clock with Katie, getting treatment and things like that. We're hoping he can go, but if he can't, we'll have that same next man up mentality, and other guys will step up their games and rise to the occasion. All of his family being in town, that'll have no factor on whether he can go or not go. But I mean, it's really cool to see his mom Penny here and so many of his relatives. It's hard when you go to school, a 17-hour flight away from home. It's not like you can just get a free weekend and run home. It's about a 3-day trip, and then it beats you up for about 3 days after it. I've made the Australia trip quite a few times from a recruiting standpoint. You don't know up from down for about 2 or 3 days after you land. So to have them here is really special. They're going to be here for a pretty extended period of time. So, they'll be able to see him hopefully tomorrow, and if not, soon.
Pat, when you've now been through the whole league, so you've scouted every team. When you look at Stanford, what is Reno? I mean, I think he's probably, if not one of top 2 or 3 players in the whole league. What does he do for them?
What doesn't he do? He's terrific. It's a great story. He stayed at the same place for 4 years. If you look at what he did his freshman year, how he's just continued to grow, and then these last 2 years, last year he just made a huge jump, and this year, his jump has been astronomical. He's everything. Puts fear in your heart in every single way as a coach in preparation, because he has so many tools. He's got great size, length, great basketball instincts. He's very skilled. He can score in the post off both shoulders. He can step out and make threes. He can block shots. He's good in pick and roll coverage. Veteran. He's tough. He's a load. We have our hands full, and he's got a very good group around him, guys that kind of accentuate his strengths, and they're very well coached. So it's going to be an extremely challenging game. Our guys, in a very short turnaround, and they have the same turnaround, and they had to fly across the country. So we're doing our best to prepare, and we're excited about the opportunity tomorrow on senior night.
What are your thoughts on senior day? You've got, I guess, 8 who are technically playing their last home game. What are your thoughts? Will you be emotional about it? Or?
Man, I mean, it's one of the great things about coaching is just, it's a great thing, and it's sad at the same time, because you just get so close with the young men on your team. Each team every single year is unique and different. This is one of them. It's as fun as I've ever had coaching a team, and I've coached some really special ones. And it's always hard to say goodbye. I mean, obviously tomorrow's not goodbye, but it's the last time that they'll put on a Louisville uniform here at the Yum Center. And it's been well documented kind of where the program was before these young men arrived and where it is today. I think I speak for everybody in this city that We owe this group, this special group, a huge sense of gratitude and appreciation for what they've done over the last 8 months to lift this program and to lift this city in many ways. And, you know, I said it the other day at the press conference, or maybe I said it on radio, you know, they're only going to wear that jersey for 1 year, but be hard-pressed to think that this group won't be revered and remembered and beloved for a long, long, long time for what they've done and the success they've had. And obviously, we're far from done yet, but it's going to be a very special celebration. And I think, you know, when the transfer portal world started churning a couple years ago, like a major concern, I think, for fans, and rightly so, not just here but everywhere, it's like, well, gosh, those 4-year guys you get so attached to, right? The relationships are built, the emotional relationship. But it's a new era and it's a new age, and I think people should, not just Louisville fans, all fans should really, really embrace the players that you know that wear that uniform, and especially wear it in a way that our guys did. They paid tribute to that great uniform, that name across their chest, and it was taught to them at a very, very early stage in our time together. In fact, in our first meeting on June 5th, we told the story of the legacy, the mystique of Louisville, the great coaches, the great players, the great teams, the championship teams. And, you know, we told them, you may have worn another jersey for 3 years, and so have you, and so have you, so have you. But you guys are Louisville. You're Louisville Cardinals. And, you know, it's a great responsibility to put on their jersey, and I think they upheld that, and I think you'd probably agree with me, right?
Pat, since your opening press conference, you used the term power of the unit a bunch. Terrence used it in his post-game news conference the other day. What does it mean to you guys who bring certain things here that your players are now using that as part of their vocabulary?
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want as a coach. You know, you can declare, here's what we are and here's what our culture is, but, you know, it goes in their ears, but there's about a 12-inch trip from their ears to their heart, and when it goes from there to there is when it's special. And the makeup of these guys from day one were special. They were raised the right way. They're winning people, and we knew they had the right values, which is why we brought them into our program. But when our team truly became player-led is when we really took off, and they believe in it. You know, the power of the unit, you can see it when you walk into our practice facility. You can see it when you walk into our locker room down at the Yum Center. You know, I had the opportunity by Josh and by Alan, our administration, to use that wall as kind of the front porch of our program right outside the Kieber Center. And if you drive down the street here, you know, when you go past, you can see in it. It's not just for us, it's kind of for the world to see, and that really encapsulates who we are and what our program's all about. It's about the guy next to you, it's not about yourself. And I think that is indicative of who this team is and who they've become.
Well, I know you always say, you know, your focus is the next practice, the next weightlifting session, things like that, but when you allow yourself to think about it, the jobs you've had before, you've been in mid-majors where, I mean, you might have gotten an at-large bid with some of those teams, but you probably felt like you needed to win that tournament to take some of that. Now, you're in a position where you're gonna go to the NCAA tournament, and especially with all the other factors here with this program, you allow yourself to take a moment to say, you know, wow, that's pretty incredible, and it feels a little different even than it has in your other years.
Not now. Not now. I mean, I haven't even talked any of that stuff you're talking about. Selection, seed, all that stuff you're just talking about, it doesn't even enter my mind. I'm sorry for cutting you short on that, but it just doesn't. My sole focus is on Stanford. What you did talk about is kind of, you know, starting at a lower level. We did it the hard way, right? I mean, Winthrop was a very, very special place to me. Charleston was a very special place to me. It's different. It's a different level than where we're at right now. And I think just the appreciation of the journey, because we did do it that way, and it's harder. It's a harder path, I think, to become a head coach. for some reason, there's some stigma on coaches in the Big South, for instance, that they can't coach at the Power 5 level or at the CAA. They can't. You kidding me? Like, there are some phenomenal coaches that I've coached against over the years, and I could name a bunch of them. I mean, heck, some of our biggest, most bitter rivals, like when I was at Radford, Mike Jones and I mean, I'm telling you what, we'd literally gotten fights. And we competed with everything we got. He's at UNC Greensboro now. He is a phenomenal coach. Probably our next biggest rival when I was in the CAA at Charleston was probably UNC Wilmington. You know, Takeo Siddle and I competed. I mean, we're not going to have dinner with each other. I can tell you that right now. I respect the heck out of him. But that sucker can coach. And, you know, part of me thinks and hopes that, you know, when Josh offered me this job, I owed it to the city of Louisville and to Josh Hurd to earn my keep. And to prove to him that I belonged here. But there's a little part of me, just like I have a special place in my heart for walk-ons, like there's a special place in my heart for guys that are working their butts off at a lower level to try to get here. And guess what? They belong here. Those guys get a shot, they'll kill it. And I just named a couple of them. I can name a bunch of other guys. But, you know, so that's the only thing I'd say about, like, looking back to where we started and where we are. But, you know, Dana begged me last night to have a press conference at like 11 o'clock last night. And I was like, Dana, like, we had 2 days to prep. You know me, like when I'm getting ready for Stanford. But when Dana asks for something, she gets it because she's a big part of 25 Strong. And I appreciate her putting up with me all the time because I'm not the easiest to deal with all the time.
Coach, it used to be pretty straightforward on players' eligibility and like who can come back as a 4 years plus a red shirt. But now with COVID and now the JUCO rule, who are you honoring after the game? And the decision
Yeah, I mean,
to
the
honor
guys
them
that we're
after-
honoring are the guys that are exhausting their eligibility. Like they're done.
Yeah.
You know, they're done. You know, all the other stuff with now the JUCO's got stuff back and injuries and all that. It's the guys that are they're exhausting their eligibility per rule and they can't ever play another game again in college basketball as the rule stands right now. But as you know, wake up tomorrow and something else could change. This whole group, man, should be celebrated. This whole group, because it is a really, really special thing, and we're gonna celebrate. We're gonna acknowledge those seniors. But to me, tomorrow is a celebration of family, right? And the family is the city of Louisville, our fan base, our student body, and this special group of young men and women that make up our 25 Strong. And guess what? You know, our fan base is part of that 25 Strong. Our student body is part of that 25 Strong because they've stepped up in a major way and have made a major impact on our recruiting, because all we do is send graphics out of what the crowd looks like now. We're talking about this is one of the most passionate fan bases in all of college basketball, and you guys have proven that. And, you know, and then you hear coaches talk about press conferences after the game, the caliber of atmosphere and how that has an impact on the game as well. You know, our fans have really, really stepped up. They're a huge part of the revival.
Just to be more specific, so that, you know, going off what you're going off of, that would kind of keep Kaysen with his trying to get a red shirt, and then Javon. With those two guys, you know, since they do have extra years, they will be going through the ceremony.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
Okay. And then just looking at last game for Noah, really stepped up. I think and you kind of spoke about it during your post game presser. You know, for those guys that are coming off the bench after a game like that, how do you kind of keep building confidence with them as you head to this final stretch, and then into the postseason?
I mean, they went in, they played really, really well. You know, if I'm them, I'm running to that scores table next time my name's called to run back into the game and keep playing. You're right, guys like Noah, guys like Kanai, Kadir, they were huge for us. Frank gave us really good minutes. They were a big, big part of that win the other day because we weren't preparing for rain to go down, you know, 25% through the game. And, you know, next man up, they ran the game and busted their butt, made an impact, guarded, made shots. They were huge, and I expect them to do the same thing tomorrow, and the next game, and the next game, and the next game.
Pat, you talked a little bit about, after the game, about the switch being flipped defensively for your team. I think it was around, you felt like it was around maybe like Eastern Kentucky, North Carolina, sometime around there. Was it a practice? Was it a film session? Was it maybe just seeing what they were doing in a game that maybe you kind of looked and said, oh, something's different now?
We had a big team meeting, but we have a lot of big team meetings. There was a moment where we just kind of laid it out, like, here's where we're at, this is where we need to be for us to be an NCAA tournament team. And I can't will it out of you. It can't be coach-led. It has to start with you guys, in your minds, and your hearts. Defense is going to be our ticket. And if we don't have one of the best defenses in the ACC, we won't be able to go to the NCAA tournament. It was no secret sauce magic button that we pressed or something like that, but we did talk about it that day, and the guys really took to that message, grabbed it, ran with it, and it's a big reason why. We have good schematics, but everybody has good schematics. I think we have a good plan defensively. Everybody has a good plan defensively, but man, when the players, it just runs through their veins and they eat it, sleep it, drink it, and believe it, is when you got a chance to be special. That's what defense is, in my opinion, more than anything. It's a 1-2, it's an attitude, it's an angriness, it's a mentality, it's a toughness. And obviously you have to be on the details. You got to be accountable at the highest level. That combination of being accountable within the system and just playing your butt off and being tough is what good defensive teams do.
Pat, while you are getting a lot out of all the players, and while a guy like Chucky gets all the headlines, during this current 8-game winning streak, how much of a factor has Terrence Edwards and his elevated play played a role as to the momentum you guys have?
He doesn't care that he maybe doesn't get quite the national attention that Chucky does, because Terrence is about one thing and one thing only, and that's winning. But there's no question he deserves more. He has been special. He has been elite. He has been a first-team all-conference guy, in my opinion, over a really long stretch. You look at what he's done over the last 8-10 games, as you mentioned. His statistics are off the charts. He just leads. I mentioned how he's sort of almost the captain of our defense a little bit. Not I haven't proclaimed that or named him that, but we talk about that switch, that turn. You have a guy that is really, really wired to score, and that's what the back of his bubblegum card says he is, and he is just really, really gravitated to becoming one of the best perimeter defenders in our conference. And then to see his offense kind of take off, he's playing at an elite level, and there's no doubt that he deserves national attention, conference acclaim, in my opinion, because of the impact he's made on one of the best teams in our conference over the last 2 months.
How impressed are you that he's been able to do that? I mean, right after having the kid, when you have your first kid, you think like you're ready for it, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute, I got to keep this kid alive. Like, it's all encompassing, and he's playing his best basketball since then, really.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, he's a full-time student.
Yeah.
And he's selling tickets and making hot dogs in the concession stand, a little bit of everything. But yeah, gosh, my advice to him was just soak it in and embrace it. Because I look back at the birth of my 3 children, and those are 3 of the most special moments and times of my life. Yeah, you're up a little bit late and you're changing diapers in the middle of the night. Although my wife's watching this right now, and she'll say, you have never changed a diaper in the middle of the night before, ever. Sadly, I didn't, but we each had our roles. She knows I had to get to work early next. I'm not going to make excuses. There's a bunch of people out there right now that are eye-rolling on that one, but I did change diapers. It's not the middle of the night. So my bet is Suzanne's holding that down so he can get the right amount of sleep to be energetic for practice the next day. She's a superstar. She's a world-class young lady, and they're going to be phenomenal parents. So, how cool is that? He's playing his last year of college basketball. He's crushing it, playing at an all-conference level, and going through that experience with his first child. It's pretty special.
The common theme for this team is toughness. We saw it in James Scott the other day when he got, his mask basically knocked off and he turned around and comes back in. How's he feeling with his injury, and is the mask, done, or is it coming back? Or?
I don't know if it's coming back. I know we called over to the speed school. I think they said they called that night. Or no. What it was is, and I forget who on our staff, maybe it was Katie. She emailed somebody over at the engineering school and say James broke his mask, and this was a 9 o'clock game, so it's like 11:30 at night. And I don't know who it was, and I'll get you the name. They emailed back within 5 minutes and go, "We got another one ready for you." So they already have another one for him. I don't know if that was kind of like the moment where James said, "Okay, maybe I can play without it," or maybe that's just become his new identity. I don't know. So there's a little suspense to see whether he takes the floor tomorrow with his mask or not. We'll see.
So were the teeth put back in, or is he rocking the hockey look?
He's rocking the hockey look. Yeah,
Wow.
he's rocking the hockey look. I don't know if he has like fake ones he can put in right
He
now.
does have fake ones he can put in, but he doesn't have them in all the time.
He doesn't have it, yeah. So
Will you just have them make a couple of them in case that happens in Charlotte or down the road?
I have nothing to do with any of that. You gotta talk to Katie. I'm sure they have, it's probably like Batman. They probably open this big cabinet and it has all this like armor and all that stuff. I don't know. I'm sure they plan better than I do. I worry about what I worry about. They worry about what they worry about. That's what makes us good.
How much fun is this weekend going to be for you? I mean, obviously, when you get a team, go through that process of trying to get guys out of the portal. You probably have a really short amount of time to, to try to go about, meeting their families and trying to build those bonds. But to have so many people from their families, I'm here this weekend for this final home game. Just how cool is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be really excited and looking forward to it. When the buzzer sounds, if we're on the winning side of the scoreboard, I won't be very fun to be around if it was the other way. So, but yeah, I mean, you guys know, I mean, my 1,000,000% focus, I'm getting nervous right now because this is going long, but is all Stanford. They're arguably the best player in the league, or top 1 or 2, 3. They're a load to prepare for. That's all I'm worried about right now. I mean, obviously, I know tomorrow's senior day, and it's going to be cool, and it's going to be emotional to honor them. Answer me these questions afterwards.
Speaking of Stanford, how difficult has it been to try and game plan around a guy like Maxime Renaud, who's averaging a double-double and is leading the ACC in rebounding?
Yeah, I mean, that's the question Jody asked before, too. I mean, yeah, it's a huge, huge challenge. I mean, he stuffs the stat sheet in every single way. He's 6 foot 1,000,000, can shoot threes, can score in the post, off both shoulders. He's a very good passer. He generates free throws. He's a good rim protection guy. Good. I mean, he just got all the tools. He's going to play for a long, long time and make a whole lot of money. And it's a challenge. Get ready for him for sure.
All right, thank you all.
Okay.
Thank you.